You assemble the lining in the same manner as you did with the outer jacket. You sew the shoulder seams, you set in the sleeves, you close the side seams, and if you like to do a label or add a little loop to hang it, this is the time to do it. To assemble the lining in the outer jacket, you put the lining right sides facing on the outer jacket along the bottom hem line, and you start to pin at the side seams to make sure that they align. Then you pin the center front and you fill up with pins. It's important that you make sure that you have the lining and the outer fabric evenly distributed so that you don't sew any folds. After pinning the whole bottom hem together, the lining and the outer fabric of the jacket, you will sew with 1 centimeter seam allowance. Afterwards, you press the seam allowance to the lining and understitch the seam allowance to the lining. Place your sleeve lining into the sleeve so that it's not twisted, and try to lay the fabric flat. It's a little bit impossible for me because I just have such a small surface to film, so but for you, please lay your surface flat, and then measure 2 centimeters at the hem line and pin it in place all along the bottom hem and press it afterwards so that you have a hem of 2 centimeters of your outer fabric shown at the inside. Pin your facings right side placed on each other together on the short sides that you have a loop, and you press apart the seam allowance. To add the facing to your lining, you just take one sleeve and put it over the sleeve hem so that the lining is inside. And you pin the underarm seam exactly on each other, and then you pin all around the hem, the sleeve hem of the lining to sew both parts together. You sew with 1 centimeter seam allowance as always. Press the seam allowance to the lining, and then you turn your lining sleeve inside out and place it like this. It's the easiest if you hold it at your underarm seam into your outer sleeve. Then make sure that the underarm seams are aligning here, that your lining is not twisted on the inside. Now you enter your sleeve through the outer jacket and the lining. In between, you reach inside and you grab your sleeve facing and the sleeve itself, the outer sleeve, at the underarm seam. Grab it, hold it tight, and you pull it through so that both of the insides are outside. Then you pin it to each other at the underarm seam. If you have made sure before that your that your lining is not twisted inside, there's no possibility to have it twisted now. So you just pin it to each other along the sleeve hem and sew it with 1 centimeter seam allowance afterwards. To bring the sleeve back in place, you put your hand into the lining and then you just pull the outer sleeve over the lining sleeve. So now your lining is inside your jacket and you have the chance to nicely press your sleeve hem. Pin it in place to do so, and then you can give it a nice press.